Hey guys, Brett here connecting from UbiCentral, and today we're going to be talking about Assassin's Creed Unity and things it actually deserves some credit for. So let's get started. The open world. In my opinion, Assassin's Creed Unity is the best looking Assassin's Creed game when it comes to graphics, but the game doesn't just have pretty visuals to look at. All of the buildings were built at a 1-to-1 scale, and not to mention you could enter a lot of those buildings in the open worlds. Throw that in there with hundreds of NPCs on screen, and you can tell just how much work went into creating a realistic game. Sure, Unity couldn't hit a steady 30 FPS, but when you look at how much Ubisoft was trying to do, especially with their first game on the new consoles, you have to give them some credit for at least trying to achieve something. And unfortunately, since Unity didn't run that well, Syndicate took some steps back in the open worlds, removing most enterable buildings and a lot of NPCs, so instead we basically saw this bald guy throughout the entire game. The combat. I know some of you are already typing saying the combat was garbage and it doesn't deserve any credit, but I don't think that's necessarily true. Sure, the combat wasn't the greatest and there was room for improvement, but you have to remember Assassin's Creed had basically the same combat system for the last couple of games in the franchise. So Unity actually tried to do something new and unique. You couldn't just face 10 different people at once and kill them all in a matter of seconds. In fact, even if you faced 5 people at once, you had a really high chance of dying. This made you have to stock up on medicine and take more stealthy approaches during combat-driven areas. Again, there was a lot of room for improvement, but Ubisoft decided to change up the same formula they were using. They could have just taken the easy way out, but they wanted to try something completely different, and you had to give them some credit for that. Customization. In Assassin's Creed Unity, there was a lot, and I mean a lot of customization. This was the first Assassin's Creed where we had so many different clothing options to choose from. Some outfits were pretty bad and expensive, but still, the fact that you can make your assassins so unique was a welcome change to the franchise. This feature should have been in the series way before, but thankfully, it finally arrived in AC Unity. Online co-op. Just like with combat, I expect some people to be confused on why this is here, but just like everything else on this list, it was something new and fresh. Multiplayer was around in the series for quite some time, and Ubisoft could have taken the easy way out again, but they didn't. Instead, they allowed players to be in the open world together for the first time in the series. Honestly, co-op missions were actually alright, and I would love to see it return in future installments along with multiplayer. I mean, could you even imagine an AC game with both online multiplayer and co-op? And before we move on, it's definitely worth noting we didn't get either of these features in Syndicate. So even if you didn't like co-op, you had to be thankful Ubisoft at least did something with Unity. Anyways, that brings us to the end of the video. I want to end this off by saying I know a lot of these things had issues, but it was Ubisoft's first game on the next generation of consoles, and they actually tried changing up the series with new features, and I feel like they don't get a lot of credit for doing this. I know the execution wasn't the best, but at least they tried. While Syndicate is a good game, they took a lot of steps back, removing any online modes, having the same NPCs everywhere, less buildings to enter, less clothing options, the list goes on. As always though, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all later.